There is one narrative out there that is eating everything in its path, and it combines pop culture, crypto, politics, and more. And we're talking about prediction markets. Prediction markets are by far the future of trading. In this video, I'm going to go over exactly the type of things that you can do on prediction markets, why inherently people do think, it's somewhat of a gamble, but if you have an edge, you can use data to your advantage and make these markets another form of profitable trading. So we're going to go over everything in this video, how I navigate prediction markets, where to find an edge in the things that you are very privy on, and I'm also going to give some predictions for this weekend. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
And before we get started, as always, guys, be sure to drop down below, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel for more. Every single day here on In the Game, we have you covered top to bottom, everything you need to win across the market. And of course, a big shout out to our sponsors here on the channel. We have some incredible sponsors, including Gravity. If you guys already aren't trading on Gravity, I think you are missing out. They raised $30 million. They have an upcoming airdrop. They are the official perps decks for ZK Sync. I would absolutely recommend to check it out down below in the description. I think the airdrop here will be very fruitful, and I do think that this is very underfarmed in a pretty crowded narrative right now with perp dexes. I do think that Gravity is well funded and underfarmed as far as an airdrop. So check out Gravity down below in the description. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the topic today. And really, I want to go over the future of trading. And I think that you can really open up your arsenal in a way if you can get privy in other markets. Now, for me, the stock, the crypto market right now has been a little bit choppy, a little bit boring. Now today is looking pretty good. We have a 1% up on Bitcoin. We see some altcoins kind of performing. If we filter on the daily as well, we can see a little bit of a green action on alts. But in a market like this, aside from Meteora airdrop or Mega ETH presale coming up, it's really hard to, dive in day to day and really for the market to just capture your attention. A lot of the time, I'm just farming airdrops or just spending time on protocols that are going to maybe return me something in the future. But I do think that right now, trading the market is very negative EV, which is negative expected value. I think that it's really hard to trade this current climate until we see another rate cut, until we see a little clarity on the government shutdown so we can maybe get some more ETFs approved, etc. I think the market's going to be pretty choppy, which makes it a very hard climate to trade, especially if you're trading on leverage. So what is another way we can trade this market? To me, that's been prediction markets. If you if you're not aware of what prediction markets are, you can trade everything here. You can trade how long the government shutdown will last. Will Trump talk to Putin before the end of the year? You can bet on results of soccer, football, hockey. What will Powell say during his FOMC meeting? What will Trump say this week? What will the announcers say during a primetime football game? There's so many topics here, from politics, sports, crypto, culture, music, movies, health, finance, etc. So there's so many different markets you can dive in here. And I have seen a lot of arguments out there on whether prediction markets are gambling. Now, I do want to clarify a couple of things and why I think you can make it more like trading and not gambling. So of course, if you are just to come in here and let's just say I'm a big sports fan, don't get me wrong. But if you're just going to come in here and, place predictions on sports only, inherently, that's basically just sports betting, right? Win or lose. Who's going to win a game? That's really no different than sports betting. But where you can actually find an edge to me is the mention markets, or if something's going to happen by a certain date. Those are the type of things that I think can really net you good returns. For example, we have a market here that I'm searching for. Will any thieves in the Louvre heist be charged this year? That was the heist of the museum over in France. And you can actually bet on if they're going to get caught or charged this year, and if it's going to happen by specific dates. A lot of people bet that they won't catch them by November 1st. So there's a lot of different things you can place markets on here on Kalshi and both Polymarket. And I think that, look, I would recommend using both. Like, I have liquidity on both. I think that both are absolutely incredible and great opportunities. We see, $4 billion in volume for 𝗓𝗓 over the last 30 days, 50 billion annualized as far as volume. We also see here DraftKings, they are kind of getting into the prediction market game right now. Congrats to DraftKings on their acquisition. We're proud of the Polymarket clearing to be the designated clearinghouse as DraftKings enters the prediction market space. So it is a very different ballgame, and there's a lot of tools out there you can use to get an edge on some of these markets. We also see potential crypto being involved in the future. Now, these are not guarantees, but I do think that there will be tokens for both of these, and maybe some sort of Polymarket. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a stock and a coin, for example. But 𝗓𝗓, $5 billion valuation. They just raised $300 million on their most recent round. And then Polymarket just hinted at a token. And if you have a literally 1K P&L, you're a top 0.5% wallet. If you have 50K in volume, you're a top 1.7% wallet. And 50 trades just 50 markets brings you to the top 22%. This could definitely be one of the biggest airdrops ever. But one thing I'm just really enjoying is actually finding an edge in this market, because I'm more so spending more time trading, quote unquote, trading this type of market, like prediction markets, than I am crypto. I'm waiting for a more clear path. Our bags are packed. If you follow the channel for crypto, we've been allocated to the market for quite some time. I have my altcoin positions. I have my Bitcoin. I have no problem sitting on that. But right now, the crypto market is just kind of stagnant. So until we see a clear path to the upside, that's when I'll start navigating day-to-day trading. But now this has really turned into something that I'm using to my advantage to be able to grow some capital. And albeit, splitting up your capital between 𝗓𝗓 and Polymarket. I use Myriad as well, which is on Abstract. But you can see here, I've been taking advantage of some of these mention markets, some of just the results of events. You can also take positions on earnings calls, what companies will say during earnings calls. So very interesting what you can do top to bottom here on 𝗓𝗓. And I want to go and maybe even place a couple of picks here and just show you guys the thought process that goes through it. But also, I have been absolutely crushing myself on mention markets on prime time football games. Yes, you can bet on you can predict on what the announcers are going to say during a primetime football game. It's pretty awesome, especially if you understand the game or if you know about the different teams. Now, these ones up at the top are typically free. Nothing is ever free, but these ones here are pretty easy. Obviously, with this game, it's Green Bay Packers versus Pittsburgh Steelers. So a 90% chance that they say the word veteran. That's probably a fair price. Now, just so you guys know, on a 90% chance, if you place $50, you only return $54. So obviously, the higher percentage chance, the less money it returns. However, that probably seems like a free bet to me, because Aaron Rodgers is in his 18th, 19th season or whatever the case is, or 17th season. I'm not exactly sure the amount of years he's played, but there's no way they do not say veteran. They also have Cameron Hayward over on the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a lot of veteran players on the Steelers that I think that this word is definitely being said. But, trying to find something with a little more value. Coming down here, revenge is, 65 cents. I don't really know, is the Packers, is this a revenge game for Aaron Rodgers? I don't really think he has distaste towards the Green Bay Packers. It's an interesting one. They could definitely say revenge, because the way he left Green Bay was a little bit sour, but that's definitely not something that I'm too privy on taking at 62%, 65%. But moving on down the line here, I do think that there are some interesting ones. Potentially the Steel Curtain at 40%. It's just one of those things that the Steelers have that nickname. It's in Pittsburgh, so it is one of those words that definitely could be said throughout the game. Cheesehead. just regarding the Green Bay Packers. In a sea in Pittsburgh where there's going to be a lot of people waving those yellow towels, there's probably going to be someone wearing a cheese head. So that one's actually pretty interesting to me, and it's maybe one that I will end up taking. Yeah, and I think I will take Cheesehead because I just feel like on a road game, if anyone in the crowd is wearing a cheesehead, or they just call the Packers the Cheeseheads. So to me, that is definitely one that I could see happening. I'm just going to place $50 on this. Payout if I win is $82, so it would be a $32 profit at a 59% chance that this comes through. So there we go. And also, you can cash out if this starts moving in the direction of the upside and your percentage moves to 75%, you can actually cash out early and be able to take advantage before it gets that full $32. Maybe you just want to secure some profit as that trade does move up. You can do that at any given time. And then another one I've really enjoyed is getting involved with the earnings call mentions. So you can actually place predictions on what companies are going to say during their earnings calls. Now, I would not go scouring through every single company and trying to place random flyers. At least be aware of what's going on in these companies. For me, I've taken different predictions on American Express, Coinbase, Robinhood. I've done EA, like EA Sports, EA Games, like Apex Legends, etc. So for me, I want to do things that I'm super in the know on. So for me, right now, I think that definitely blockchain will be said, and it's an 82-cent chance right now. So to me, I just think that's one that is very, very plus EV, like expected value. They're leaning into the blockchain so much. This has moved up though, which I do not like that much. So it's one of those that if it was a little bit cheaper, I would definitely place a heavier bet there. But just looking at it, prediction market at 91%. They're probably going to say prediction market. They're moving into the prediction market space. So that's definitely one I like. I wish it wasn't so high. However, we see shutdown football. I definitely think that they say football because of the prediction markets kind of narrative. These have moved up a ton though. So it's one of those things that I'm not going to take currently, but you can find an edge across so many different things in the prediction market space. And for me, I just love the mention markets. There's also different tools out there. I think it's called Mention Matrix, where you can actually go see in previous games or in previous speeches from Trump or Powell what they said during those events, and you can actually try to have an edge on that. Like, let's look at the FOMC, for example. We see QT, quantitative tightening. He probably ends up saying that for sure. I think the meeting is on the 29th, so just a couple days from now, actually. That's actually one I like at 70, at 69%. He's probably going to mention how QT or quantitative tightening is over and they're moving into quantitative easing. So that's one I'm actually going to take currently. So $50 pays out $69, so it would just be $19 in profit. But this is one of those things. Don't get involved with huge money until you find your edge. For me, I just deposited a couple $100. I've ran it up to over $500 on 𝗕𝗟, and kind of the same thing on Polymarket. I do different markets because they offer different offerings. But for me, this is the way I've done it. You can start small, get your feet under you, kind of figure out the markets that you really enjoy and kind of are in the know about, and then take advantage of those moving forward. So the two picks I'm giving on this video are Powell to say quantitative tightening or QT during the FOMC speech on Wednesday. I believe that is the 29th. And then on top of that, I am going to go ahead and take, what did we take? We took Cheesehead in the Green Bay Packers and Steelers, that the announcers will say the word Cheesehead. So those are my two predictions I'm going to give in this video. And like I said, these are things that you have to be in the know about. Don't just go randomly throw darts, or then it becomes gambling. You can actually have an edge by paying attention month after month or week after week to what these things are and what they're saying in these events, and really find an edge and actually turn this into a trade rather than a gamble. So if you enjoy the show, guys, like the video down below and subscribe to the channel, because I'm spending a lot of time on prediction markets recently. I do think it's one of those things that in a boring crypto market, you could still be able to make some profit if you bet the markets that you are actually in the know about and have an edge on. So we're going to do this every single week. If you guys are interested, let me know down below in the comments. And I think moving forward, the live stream format would fit this way better. Like if we're doing a live stream, I'm talking to the chat. You guys want me to look at a specific market. We can recommend different predictions. I think it's going to be a very fun time. We had the, NFL shows a couple years ago. Those did really well. So if you guys enjoy the prediction market stuff, let me know in the comments, and we'll definitely do more of these because, I invest in stocks. I invest in, different types of asset classes. And to me, this is also an investment. You don't just deposit money and run freely and just don't do any research. Like, you need to treat everything like this as an investment and try to be very strategic with the capital. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about prediction markets. If you guys want more of this content as well, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, play well, my friends, trade responsibly, and of course, stay bullish, my friends.